So for my solar setup, I'm trying to put two 6-volt batteries together to make 12 volts so I can run some of this stuff that's in here. What I have to do is make it, oh crap, I should have done it the other way. Well, we're gonna do it this way, right? Hey, anything goes, right? So what I have here are my two batteries. I got, the positive on both those batteries. I got the negative on this other side. What I need to do is I need to link these two batteries together to make 12 volts. If I do it one way, it's called in series. If I do it the other way, it's called parallel. So what I want to do is get 12 volts. So I want to take one of these positives, connect it over to one of these negatives. And now the two batteries are connected, and basically that's like making 12 volts. And now I have to hook it up to the thing I'm trying to I have here is I got my 12 volts going into my charge controller. You like my drawing? It's beautiful, I know. If you want something creatively done, send it to me. I'll ruin it, no problem. So here's the negative part that I put in here. You're gonna see it's a little frayed wire, copper wire, and you stick it in there, and you take your, let's see, what is that thing called? Screwdriver, and you screw it down. It kind of clamps together like that. And then this one right here, which would be my positive. So what this is going to then show is I got 12 volts going to it. And if I leave it like this for like a week and don't do anything, it might drop just a little. If I don't use this stuff at all and just leave this plugged in, it might drop just a little. Probably not enough to even notice it. This has to go down to 11.4 to start having some issues. Asking for more juice, because once these go down to 11.4 together, it's going to ask for more juice. And how do you give it juice? You know, how do you make that happen? I'm gonna try to do it right here. I've got a solar panel. I think it's 250. I don't know. I got to check all that stuff out. But I got my solar panel. I'm so glad I can draw with my one hand. I got two solar panels, and the same thing over here. I've got a positive, and I got a negative. And if I don't show myself this, I'll forget it. And that's not even red. I'll forget it. I already forgot it 12 times. So, here it is. Yeah, nice. So you got this freaking setup right here. Okay, now I got to charge my batteries, and I need my solar panel to charge my batteries. Again, it's very similar. There's already decided that I was going to use my batteries as 12-volt batteries. That means my solar panels have to interact with them on the same level. If I put these two in series, like I did up here, I have problems. Because if I take two solar panels that are 12 volts each, and I do it in series, like I did on the last one, I'm going to be pumping 24 volts up to these batteries, and it won't work. I haven't done that yet, I don't think. So I haven't blown anything up. So what I would do instead is I would take my two 12-volt panels and line them up in series. So this is like what the characteristics are for the series. But I don't want series, I want parallel. I think I said it wrong, but I want parallel. So I'm gonna go back up to the parallel. And there we are, solar panels in parallel. So basically you have a positive and negative on each one. Each one goes positive to negative on each thing. So you have positive wire, positive wire, positive wire, all connected on the positive, and then negative wire, all connected on the negative. And then you're gonna bring this over to your charge controller, put it in the positive and the negative. It's not too difficult, but I forget every time I go to set this thing up. So if people are like, I'll never forget that, yeah, sure, go for it. So what I have to do is I have to put these two together. So where's my red? Oh, this is my red. So I got my, I don't know why I did it opposite. This is freaking retarded of me. Let me just throw that out. So I got my positive wire, got my other positive wire, and these are actually going to connect together with a wire. Then that last wire is going to go up to here and go into my positive entryway. Same thing, just a little bit of a frayed copper wire that goes up in there, and then you clamp it down with a thing. So I got my two positives together. You're not going to want to put this in yet. You know, just throwing that out there. Positive to positive, and let's see, that's good enough. Negative to negative, and this wire will connect these two together. Now you're going to have to extend this, right? So this wire and your other wire are going to go up there. You got your negative and your positives, and now you're going to plug it into here. And what that's going to do is it's going to take that energy that this thing is getting from the sun. It's going to send it up in a negative wire, and it's going to send it up into a positive wire, and my charge controller makes sure that that's operating correctly. So if I put two 24s together or something like that, it's gonna show me faults all over the place. And now, like, so you do need this. I mean, it's imperative. You'd kill your batteries and yourself every day. This thing regulates everything. It knows when these are getting too low. It puts it on float. It gives you all kinds of information that lets you know you're optimizing your system. You absolutely need this. So anyway, the energy is going to go up into here, and it's going to decide what to do with it. If these are already full, you might go on a float. You might go on a standby. If these are still good to go, it's not going to waste that energy that's coming in here. But the only problem is you can't store that energy. All you can store is 12 volts. So, you know, these things can be out in the sun all day, and you might not use any of this. So basically, when the sun goes down, you're going to have full charge. But it could have done more. It could have gotten more power if you didn't use it all day. It could have gotten, I don't know, all kinds of volts and amps. And you could, like, it just depends on how many batteries you want to have. The more batteries you have, the more complicated a lot of this stuff gets. But as long as this is storing that energy and not wasting it, or if your charge controller doesn't recognize that it's not working very well, these might go down a little bit. I had these two sitting outside for 2 years. They ended up going completely dry, not attached to anything, and I just got them working again. So I was pretty happy about that. I do want to get a lithium one. That's a little easier, and it doesn't let off there's a noxious fume when these charge. A little nitrogen goes in the air. So you don't want to be in close quarters with that stuff. But so I'm going to put it in here. It's going to give my 12 volts. It's going to say, hey, do we need to charge these? Nope, they're already good, so it won't charge anything. And if it's at night and I plug this up, it says, hey, do we need to charge something? It's going to go, yeah, we need to charge. Too bad, buddy. You should have got it during the day, because we can't do anything about it now. So there's really no place to go with the extra energy. It's a bank, but you have to spend it each day, because all it's going to do is enough. So this is really the expense right here. You need to get good batteries that'll last for a long time. These things were cheap, and they do all I need. Everything I need to do. These two work out just fine. I have another setup that's similar to this, and I got another 2 of these, and another 2 of these, and I got another one of these. So they're kind of 2 different places where I'm working on stuff. But I wanted to tell you about the final step, and we'll work on that a little bit later. But I can't really do anything right now with this setup. What am I going to do? So I have to be able to take this power and send it somewhere. So far, I'm just charging my batteries. So this power, I'm going to send it to something that's called a inverter. And basically, you can change the DC 12 over to kind of whatever you really want. But for this place, it's going to have to be AC 220. I got to figure that one out. So this one, basically, you can have a plug, like a normal house plug on this thing. So you're sending energy into here, and it's boosting out that energy to wherever else you want to do it. I'll show you this. It's a Magnum. Pretty good. One went down, and the guy who sold it to me gave me a new one on the spot. He said it's okay. Awesome stuff. But so yeah, that's about the setup. And like I said, I'm just going to set it up to about this. Like right now, I'm not going to even set this thing up yet, and so I'll just make sure all my power's right, all this other stuff's right, and I just like making a lot of lines. See, it's kind of fun. Oh, I'm running out of lead. So yeah, we're gonna have that thing, and it's gonna look just like that. Kind of looks like a monster. Rawr. Call me Van Gogh, bro. Okay, so here's my setup. This is the, it's called the toy hauler room. I got a big door here that goes down, and back here, I actually got a little bit of a mess there, but, so this is gonna be where my batteries are gonna be at. I need to be able to fit 4 in there, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it. It's got enough room for at least 3, and I think it's a good place because there's ventilation back there. So this is basically 2 of the batteries. It's going to give me a 12-volt charge, and how I'm going to start this off is I'm basically going to give it what it needs in terms of combining these two. I'm going to grab the negative side and the positive side. I'm going to hook them together to make them 12. Okay, very simple. So I got this thing. It's way more than I need. It was only 60 bucks, but you can do just about anything you want with this thing. And I know how to use only one portion of it yet. That's the voltage. So we're gonna go check the batteries on this. I'm gonna make sure it's on DC. So it's on AC right now. Make it sure it's on DC. Select button, DC. Did it wrong. Okay, so it's this way. I got the positive on this one and the negative, and it's giving me what does that charge say? 6.03 positive, you know, that's positive voltage. So it's telling me that I have one 6-volt battery. And what I've done is I've tested both batteries. They're both good. I filled them up with water. The interesting part about these is that they do have to have some water in there, and it's not much. You just get it right up to the top of the inside has a little filter looking thing. It's not filter, but it's the cell, basically, the coils and cells and shit like that. So that's, you're just right to the barely as it's just kind of cascading over itself. And then on top of that, you're gonna have another 1.5 or 2 of dead space, and you leave that. So you only fill it up a little bit. Distilled water should be good to go. So what I've got is it's the wrong color, but it's gonna work. I've got one that I'm gonna connect to this terminal right here. And then since this is the, fuck, I forgot which one this is. Oh, this is the positive. See that little POS? That doesn't mean piece of shit. That means positive. So I'm gonna take the positive from this side, and I'm gonna go over and put this down here to the other battery. So it says negative or gen, I don't know, whatever. So you got negative, and then it's coming all the way over here, and you're poking up to the positive. So that's pretty simple, right? I'm gonna make it done real quick. I can't do it with 2 hands, and we'll turn this off for a second. Here we go again. Here's my, I didn't hit a button. So this is the positive, one battery going all the way over in this wire, all the way over to this one, and that's obviously negative. So they're not super tight right now. I'm gonna have to do some modifications later anyway. To set this up a little better, but so I'm gonna push that to the side. I just want to see if this thing kind of works. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna set up the voltage cam, and I'm gonna test the negative and the positive, the opposite terminals of where I just screwed them together, and it shows 12.06. It's 12 volts. So everything up to this point is working. Okay, and this lovely thing is my MPPT solar charge control. I haven't hooked it up yet, and I'll show you what's going on down here. I'm going to have to wire my battery into those 2 terminals, and then when I eventually put the solar panels in, I'm going to put my solar panels into those 2, and it's going to monitor the charging, or the charge distribution, I should say, of the batteries. If I can't get my batteries up to 12 volt, it won't work. If I'm up to 24 volt, it won't work. You got to do it precise. And we'll see. You'll see when I do plug it in, there's a little bit of things, a little bit of bells and whistles. But they don't sell this one anymore. It's pretty good. It's worked every time. So those are some of the things. I'm shaking a little bit, but so basically the next wire that I'm going to do is, okay, so these 2 ends, oh gosh, these 2 ends, right, I got my red, which is my positive, my black is my negative. I'm going to put them up to here. So this one would be, what is that one? Okay, negative, so that's going to be my black wire, and I'm going to hook up the other side, and that's going to be my red wire. Very important that I do that correctly. Now here at the other end of this magnificent ring is this thing. So this is a little frayed wire, right? That's a little frayed copper wire. And that is going to go right into that positive one right there. See? Just like that. Just jam it in there. Uh-oh. I didn't do it. Don't yell at me. So then I go into the negative side, right? And I have it covered so that I won't get a spark out of this, because when I do hook this up, this will spark together if I keep them together. So I kind of, instead of worrying about what they're doing, I just throw them on the ground, put a piece of tape on. There you go. So to make this a little bit clearer, I've clamped down the positive wire onto the positive side, and now the second battery, I have that connected to the black wire. Super easy stuff, but I can put the camera in here many a time. Can you see? This is the glove I have. It's almost like a leather little freaking glove. So we see this one. That's one of them, right? And I got the other one, right? Uh-oh. Here we go. Ah! Okay, so this is just for this test. They're not, I didn't clamp them down, right? Why isn't it autofocus, please? No? Okay. Anyway, so I didn't clamp them down yet, but they're in there. And that has turned on this handy dandy light, which if I go over here, I can see that it's 12 volts going into it. Nothing's going out of it, and nothing is coming in as far as charge goes. It does have a handy dandy light, so you can use that too. But all you really have to do at this point is screw these down. Make sure the positive and the negatives are right. And that little bit's hanging out. I don't like that right there, but just for the test, I'm gonna leave it like that. Basically, that's your charge controller on. 12 volts are coming in, nothing's going out, nothing else is coming in from the solar, because I haven't hooked those up yet. I'm gonna hook those up later. So basically, up to this point, everything is working just fine. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but so some other things I'm gonna do with this, obviously, I want to be able to tie this down a little better. I want to lock it, lock it in there a little better, so get some better screws and stuff. I kind of want the solar panel wires to come through there. I don't know if you can see that little piece in the back, but that goes directly outside, and it's directly to what's considered the battery disconnect. On the outside of this bad boy, I got two 12 volts that are strictly meant for this RV, this toy hauler. So when I go to shore power, those batteries get charged. I think I'm going to leave them on there, and I'm not going to switch them out with this, but this is going to be like my off-grid shit. If I got to go off-grid, I'll have my panels, which are outside right now, my charge controller, and my batteries, and I should be able to run all this stuff, plus AC, let's see what else, microwave, TV, computer, lights, pretty much every day. I think I'd be pushing it if it was like, if I had everything on till like 4 in the morning, I'd probably be pushing it. But once that sun comes up, it all starts over again. So everything worked up to this point. Last time I got it to this point, everything went fine, and then went haywire afterwards. So the other piece that I'm going to tie into this is this is my actual inverter, and it's a big boy. And so I'm going to put the batteries straight from the battery, straight from the, where I just had that, on the same side. So on the same side that these wires are coming in from, so basically on this left side, blocking out that light. So those are the two terminals I want to use. I don't want to use these two. I want to use those two. And it's going to come into here, and it's going to get right onto those. So positive, negatives. And what I'm going to have eventually, which I have it, I just haven't put it on. Basically, you're going to have that. And you can plug this entire thing in, and you got your whole world's on fire, basically. You got everything you want. Cold fridge, cold air, lights, everything. A couple things I wouldn't recommend. What I'm sort of doing here, I'm totally experimenting on so many different things. But I was caught in minus 44 degree weather not too long ago, and these things were like, I don't know if I never knew this, and I'm glad that I figured it. Well, I'm glad somebody told me what was going on, because I didn't get it. I was thinking we were in negative 44 degree weather, and I was thinking that I was running through this stuff 1 can per day. And I said, there's no way. 1 can last at least 5 days. I mean, that's really pushing it. What was happening, it was so cold outside that the gas pressure on the inside died down and it turned into a liquid. So there was no more gas pressure pushing it out of this nozzle. It was just water sitting at, well, not water, but propane sitting at the bottom of this. And so I brought him back a couple times. I was like, I keep going through this. Well, no, it was turning into to gas, from a gas to a liquid, and it didn't have the pressure to do anything. So I mean, I'm in here freezing, minus 44 degree weather, not knowing what to do. Anyway, I came, obviously some different solutions. I bought a couple different sizes. They got stuff for more permanent stuff that you can go out and get it, and all that stuff is fine. I think the only thing I'm going to struggle with on this particular thing is going to be my water heater, and I'll try to have to figure out how to do something else with that. There's a couple other things I was going to try to do so that when I do travel, I'll have a couple of mini fans, basically. So as I'm driving, it's creating energy. Those fans that are moving are creating energy while I'm driving. Plus, I guess I'll just leave it on wherever I am. So I'll have 2 sorts of power coming in, and I don't want to hook any of that stuff in together. It's going to be separate, but it's almost going to be just like emergency stuff, where we blot out the sun or something with like some horrible smoke, and the beginning of the Matrix starts, and I'll have about 10 minutes to kiss my ass goodbye, and that will be because I have the fans that are on top of the car. And I'll get a little bit of juice out of that, and that'll be the end. But yeah, and that's I like the idea that most people say to stay away from the fans, and I kind of will. I'm just gonna get a small one for the top. This wind here is crazy. It's on all the time. It comes left, it comes right, up, down, middle. It's got 50 miles an hour, got gusts out of nowhere. Just all of a sudden, whoosh, you're like, what the fuck? But anyway, so that's about what's going to happen here. Don't keep your propane on the inside like this. These are actually empty, so I'm doing it. And if you have the time, put up your damn freaking thing so that you can sit in it and enjoy life. My little hammock. But I don't do that. There's my little carpet. It's my little red guy. He looks like he's got a ghillie suit on and he's a sniper. And that should be about it for this particular episode of Craziness at Crazy Town. Yeah, keep your shit neat. Not like this, but I've been kind of experiencing a couple malfunctions here. I'm gonna take all this stuff down and take it out, and I'm gonna put it up tonight. It's dark right now, so I'm gonna put it up tomorrow. You stop yelling at me.
Not to touch the earth, not to see the sun, nothing left to do but run, run, run. Let's run. Let's run. House upon the hill, moon is lying still, shadows of the trees, witnessing the wild breeze.